So Devin Haney showed Brian Norman levels, but Eddie Hearn, of course, criticised, had something to say about Haney's style, which is funny because when Eddie Hearn promoted Devin Haney, he was like, "Oh my word, it's an absolute masterclass against Regis Pro Grey tonight." But now all of a sudden, Haney left him. Hearn no longer promotes him. Apparently, Haney's now really boring. Apparently, he's really boring. Look, thing is, he's not the most entertaining fighter in the world. We can all admit that. But we've got to admit it was a very good, tactical, smart performance against Brian Norman Jr. Showed levels, completely boxed his head off. Was it the most entertaining fight in the world? No. But Haney boxed very well. And if you want to criticize the fight, because apparently Turki Al-Sheikh said something as well, when Eddie was slacking it off, it's just not a fan-friendly story, who's going to want to watch Devin Haney? Apparently, Turki Al-Sheikh's piped up as well, calling it Mickey Mouse fighting. It's like, he's on his phone after fights anyway. It's like, what were you even bloody watching? It's a good performance, he boxed well. And a lot of these guys are just getting paid to say, these professional commentators, by the way, many people saying that, pundits, I say, saying, oh, Haney's boring. He's not the most entertaining fighter in the world, but you can't slag off that performance. That performance deserves no hate at all. It's a very good performance from Haney against Brian Norman Jr. He showed levels there. His counter jab was fantastic. His lateral movement was fantastic. Haney dominated the fight, scored Brian Norman. The fight was mostly fought at mid-range as well. Norman didn't do anything, so if you want to slag someone off, slag Norman off. Haney fought well. Dropped him as well. The poor guy can't win at this point, like, honestly. I'm not even a big Devin Haney fan, but you've got to give him credit on that performance. The guy's the best at 147, without a shadow of a doubt. He's clear of everyone in the division. Clear of everyone in the division, and he'd certainly give Eddie Hearn's boy, Mr. Drochi, Eggman, Conor Ben, an absolute beating and schooling. Eddie Hearn's an absolute hypocrite. Turki Al-Sheikh just doesn't know what he's watching. And yeah, it wasn't the most entertaining fight in the world, no. He's never really going to be with Haney because he's a defensive fighter first. But it wouldn't be the same if everyone fought the same. Not every fight can be Eubank Jr. versus Conor Ben 1. It'd be boring if every fighter fought the same. It would. Haney put on a very good performance. Haney put on a masterclass against Brian Norman, whether you like it or not. He used the sweet science. He wasn't running or fighting scared or anything like that. He fought smart defensively smart. That's how Haney fought. And he planted his feet well when he threw as well. He was standing his ground in there quite a bit at mid-range, just using his lateral movement. Norman didn't know what hit him after the second round. Norman couldn't really get anywhere near Devin Haney. Couldn't get anywhere near him. People like, oh, he needs to be chin checked again after that Ryan Garcia defeat, which it wasn't really a defeat, was it? Garcia failed the drug test. He failed the drug test. Haney's performance against Jose Ramirez, Jesus Christ, worst boxing fight in history. But that was different. It brought something else out of Devin Haney. You know? Yeah, it wasn't the most entertaining fight to watch, but criticise Norman for it as well then. It takes two men to dance in there. And, if you want to call it a boring fight, criticise Norman as well, because he did nothing. But Haney shut down his game plan really, really well. Haney just dominated him, was countering him all the time. Boxed his ears off, boxed his head off. Norman came on late on trying to make it messy, but Haney was always in control, always still dictating the pace. But the nerve of Eddie Hearn to think Conor Benz would do something against Haney, absolute joke. The nerve of Eddie Hearn to come out and say after all of his praise over Devin Haney for years, now to come out and say all of this, it's like, it's all right when it suits you, but now he's slagging and slagging and slagging off like that. I just don't see the logic in it at all. He's a really strange one, Eddie Hearn. Really, really, really strange one recently. I mean, he always has been, but especially recently, just everything going on these last few weeks. Oh, with Conor Ben, now this. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. He's a hypocrite, and especially with everything going on with the whole drug cheat situation, with his comments on Spiro Mateus, which we'll get to on for another video. Mateus is a drug cheat, but what Eddie Hearn was saying, like, what about Conor Ben? You know? But yeah, Turkey had a shake calling it out. Like, he said Mickey Mouse fighting in the past. I think it was for Jack Catterall fight then. Eddie Hearn was asked about it in an interview. He's like, oh, yeah, well, you look at that. I mean, it's like, there's an agenda and people just can't seem to get out of it. People need to stop having agendas. It was a good performance there. But Turkey had a shake wasn't even watching the fight, so is he to call the fight boring? He finds every fight boring. He finds bloody every fight boring. Eddie Hearn, just when it suits him, it's all good. He needs to keep the same standards. It doesn't matter if you promote someone or not. You just need to keep the same standards. Otherwise, no one can take you seriously with your comments. It's not even a promotion. Like, oh, people say, oh, it's his job. Okay, you promote your fighters. But he's there putting down Devin Haney, who he's promoted highly from. I was like, I'd get if he kept the same standard on him all the time. But he was up his arse a few years ago. Just up his backside, constant praise. Oh, he's the best at super lightweight. And now he's like, oh, it's Conor Ben, and he's like, oh, down there, it's too boring. It's like, the nerve of him.